quite a big, powerful man.
Oh, yeah. He was, that's a picture that was taken during the time that he developed something that he called Project Street Corner. And it had entirely to do with the fact that after the Second World War, New York City was jam-packed with immigrants of all kinds of backgrounds. And the teenagers in the hot summer were, well, that's the environment into which Leonard Bernstein wrote the music for West Side Story, which was about the gang thing. Yeah. And so what he did was he imported Haitians with steel drums, and they had steel drums on the corners in New York, and the kids wanted to play the steel drums. They put basketball courts on the top of these skyscraper buildings, and started and organized teams. And some of these very, very wealthy Jewish settlement houses built pretty bare bones camps, summer camps, in the Catskills and the Adirondacks and the Poconos. And they got kids off the street. And that was what was going on. And since I've mentioned Joseph McCarthy a few times, I should mention the fact that when I was in utero, my father's name came up on Joe's list. And a small group of influential New Yorkers gathered and visited Joseph McCarthy and got my father off that list. But I remember, and you know, it's hard because I was a very precocious child, and I was very aware, but nonetheless, when you're 4 years old, some of your memories aren't exactly correct. But I remember my father saying that when the reason he was on Joseph McCarthy's list was for going to a folk concert. And he thought that was a great idea. He said, well, yeah, that is a great idea. Well, you know, Handel said, whatever you put to music, the masses will remember. And so, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. And my father said, when there's no place left to hide, the only place to be is out in the open. And we had rallies in our little backyard, like 200 people, shoulder to shoulder. And Tom Paxton, I remember Tom Paxton coming and bleeding, but I was on my father's shoulders, and he used to say to me, Nance, and I would start the song with on my father's shoulders, looking at a sea of people. And that's how I started to sing. And the feeling of being in a group like that, people who had just, you know, had a lot to be afraid of and a lot to lose, but were making that choice to be makers of history, was a powerful spiritual experience for me as a young child. And it's really neat to be talking about this on Martin Luther King Day. I became a performing artist, very successful in New Hampshire in the 90s. And
let's hit this as a separate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention it because of Martin Luther King Day.
The organizing that you did to get